Alright, Rockers, joining me now by phone, the frontman of a band tearing it up all over the country, man, for months now. I saw them earlier this year with Anthrax. They are out on the road right now with Motörhead and Saxon. Anthrax joining that later on. Right now, joining me by phone, Brandon Yeagley of Crobot. Brandon, thank you for joining me here tonight inside the Asylum.
Oh, anytime, Turbo. Anytime, brother.
Awesome, man. It's been a while since I saw you guys. It was back in June, I think it was, with
Yeah,
Anthrax. That was a hell of a show.
yeah. Every time we play New York City, it's a special day in itself because it's usually a marathon for us. There's the labels out of New York City, so we usually have a lot to do that day, and then once we get to the show, it's like New York. There's something special about New York City, really. I mean, it's just there's everything to do all at the same time, and we're always excited to come back. But that show in particular was a really good show for us. It, you know,
Cool, I'm glad to hear. Yeah, I gotta be honest with you, man. That was actually the first time I had seen you guys and actually heard what you guys were all about. I'd heard your name rumbling through the industry prior to that, but no one had gotten me some of your music, and you guys hit the stage, and well, you blew me away, as I'm sure many others. I'm sure I'm not the only one that went and ran to get your CD right after your set was over at the merch area. But I mean, I gotta just ask you, how did you guys? Cause your sound is so unique and it's so much of a mix of kind of the old school days, that 60s and 70s vibe, but with a modern flair. How did that come to be, man?
honestly, I think we're just products of our influences, really. We grew up listening to that. Speaking for myself, I was into a lot of like the mystical side of hard rock or proto metal, if you will, whatever name you want to put on it. But the Sabbath, the Dio, the Zeppelin, Uriah Heep. My dad and uncles, I really have them to thank for influencing my musical taste. But there were some really deep bands that they got me into, like Uriah Heep and just really cool stuff that really stuck with me, and it carried out into the 90s as well, with bands like Clutch and Corrosion of Conformity and Soundgarden and Rage Against the Machine. There was just a little of that in some of that stuff that surfaced as well. And growing up, I really was always just attracted, I guess, to that kind of sound, to the riff, really. It just sucks me right in like a tractor beam. But I really think that's just what happens when we get into a room and write and jam. Is just we're just products of our influences, and really just that just comes out in the jam room.
Yeah.
We don't really have any conversations too much as to what kind of sound we want to go for or what kind of song we want to write. It's just we just let it all flow and let it all happen. And I think that's really something that's missing from today's modern rock scene, and we definitely want to hold on to that, and that's something that's really important to us.
Yeah, no, I get where you're coming from. I'm like you. I was brought up on, on like the Beatles and the Rolling Stones and Led Zeppelin, and then, upon my own discoveries, in the 80s and 90s, Metallica, Motley, Green Day was the big band when I was in high school, and Guns N' Roses. And,
Yeah,
you're right. There is that groove factor, those guitar riffs, those very, sometimes overly simplistic, bass lines and drum rhythms that are easy to go along with, as opposed to some of the bands nowadays where they go into the studio and they go, all right, man, we got to do something. Even though everyone loved our last album, we need to sound different. And then you go,
Yeah,
wait, what? You know,
yeah. Yeah, and then you have bands like Motörhead, who have how many albums, and everyone sounds the same, but it's equally as awesome every time, and it tells you something, those kind of songs stay tried and true, and stand the test of time, and if it's not broke, don't fix it, you know.
it's true. I mean, there are so many bands that are out there for so many years, and everyone's worrying about, well, what the next sound is. But meanwhile, you look at the bands that have been around, like you said, like Motorhead, Aerosmith, Anthrax, so many come to mind that really have not altered too much from what made them big, and that's part of their success.
Yeah,
That's what you guys have found. On your album, something supernatural. There's a solid theme throughout that whole album, and what the identity of you guys are throughout the whole album. It really is not a track where you sit there and go, well, this doesn't sound like it fits. Everything on the album
yeah,
flows perfectly together.
yeah. Yeah, and we're that kind of band, I think, too, and that's another a value that we hold on to dearly. And when we're picking the songs for the album, songs that were left out, like the songs that were on the Full Moon Howl edition, that got later released as bonus tracks, they got left out of the album, not because they weren't strong songs or weren't as strong as some of the songs on the album, but we really didn't think they fit the spectrum of that album. We certainly thought about it as a collective. We weren't picking songs for iTunes. We're vinyl junkies too. So we like I said, we value the album front to back, and we want it to be an experience every time for the listener. And of course, with the digital age, people are going to buy what songs they want to buy, and all of them if they so choose. But it's definitely something we value is a listen front to back in that album experience.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what I'm all about. I knew there was something that, like, there was a reason we all got along when I met you guys after the show back in June, man. We're of the same minds that we gotta have physical copy of music,
Yeah,
man. That's what it is,
yeah,
man.
most definitely. Yep, absolutely. And some bands are doing some really cool stuff now, with physical releases. Like for instance, I've been checking out Sleep. Their vinyls, I think they only press like 500 to 1,000 of every kind, and then they stop the production on that and they do another special edition, like different colored vinyl. I think that's brilliant. Just to bring the collectors in and fans alike, and it's not necessarily, I don't think, reeling anybody in for any kind of wrong reasons, because I mean, Sleep is amazing, and I will buy every colored vinyl they put out just because I'm a fan of them, and I don't feel taken advantage of at all. So I think that's something that's really cool that's coming back. The vinyls are coming back, and it's a good thing, and guys like us aren't on that train because it's the cool thing to do right now. We're on that train because it's the best way to listen to your favorite bands front to back and get that album experience that we're so into. That's so seemingly lost from today's music world. Especially in the modern rock genre. And but there's some really cool stuff going out there. With some really cool bands. Graveyard, Clutch. Those bands come to mind. Mastodon. There's some really cool bands that are holding on to that album look on things, and really giving the listener an experience And like I said, that's something that we'll always take value in, and we will build albums. We're not just throwing songs in and then adding filler. We're really looking for that contrast from song to song. And with the last record, Machine, he sequenced the album, and he did a killer job. The guy really knows what he's doing when it comes to sequencing albums in particular, on top of everything else. But I would expect the same thing from the next release from us, is that it's going to be an album experience, and it's going to have those ups and downs, and hopefully it's going to flow just as easily as something Supernatural has.
I have no doubt on that. I mean, you bring up so many great points there with the flow of albums. I've always said over the years, vinyl was never something I got into when I started. I'm a 90s teenager. I was a teenager in the 90s, so CDs were my thing then, and they still are now. And there are some amazing CD package work that's been done over the years. System of a Down had that Hypnotize, Mesmerize, where when you bought them separately and they came out, you could put them together to create the double disc version. And then Stone Sour, their House of Gold album was, you bought the albums, and you could actually build a little house out of the packaging. So there was so much there with the packaging. But really, more so like you said, the actual contents of the album being a fluid system of songs. Because I've always said the best albums are the ones that you get so into that when they end, you don't realize it's over, and you're mad it's over.
Yep. Yeah, and then you'll look at the display on your CD player and it says track 2, and you're like, holy shit, how did I lose track of all that,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, those have always
It's a beautiful thing.
It is, man. It is. I mean, that's what people are really losing today in the digital era. Granted, you got to admit there is something to that immediate gratification of hearing a song, going on your smartphone, Googling it, finding it, buying it, and listening to it immediately. But at the same time, it takes away from the hunt of the album and looking for the album cover in a music store, and then taking it home and cracking it open and looking at the album while you're listening to it.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what? That's how I started, honestly. I mean, my uncle used to take me to the record store that he worked at, and before I could even read, I knew the covers of Ozzy Osbourne's records. That's the way I was raised, and I think that us as fans, we really hold on to that, and I think bands are finding some really cool ways to go about it. I saw American Sharks. They have an album, a vinyl out, and it's black and white, the cover, and it comes with markers of, it's like 4 or 5 markers, and you can color the album yourself. And the coolest part probably about it is not only that fact, but all of the markers are named after different strains of weed, depending on the color of the marker. Yeah, it's really cool. They did something really cool with it. So, it's things like that it's keeping things interesting in the industry at a time when nobody knows what the hell's going on. Nobody's buying records, but people say that in the industry a lot, but metal fans are still buying records. Metal fans are still coming out to shows. Rock fans are still coming out to shows. So I think this is the most diehard of fans are rock and metal fans, and I think that's going to carry over into the next century. You're going to find the same thing, just because rock and metal fans don't usually have to be told what's cool. They know what's cool. It's just a certain understanding of the culture, and I think rock and roll will never die. Whether or not it's making money for the industry is a different thing, but to you and I, like, fans are, there's always going to be something out there for us to find and collect,
Right, yeah, I mean, it's always, like, I'm always one, when there's an album announced, even if I get it by email from a label, I'm out there buying it if I like what I hear. It's that simple.
Yep.
And, that's what rock and metal fans are about. When they have something they've heard that they like and they hear it and they know they like it, they're not going to sit there and go, well, I'm only going to buy the one song because that's all I like.
Exactly.
They go out there and they find it. And not only that, but you can tell who those people are at shows. A great example of that, I saw Rammstein twice in a matter of 2 years. Back in 2010, they did the big show at the Garden, and then a few years later they came back and played Nassau Coliseum. And I remember looking around during the encore when they did do Hast, and you were able to pick out who the not normal fans were, because they're the ones that freaked out when they finally heard the one song that they knew, because that's all they ever bought.
Yeah. Yeah, and you see that a lot from like the radio rock bands too. I think that the radio sort of developed that mentality, I think, and I don't think it's anybody's fault really, but it's those people that really don't venture too far into new music or anything like that. They just kind of sit back and take what's given to them. But I think that's the other side of the spectrum. Are those people who only come out to shows to see that one song, and I don't understand that. I don't understand that side of things. So I'm definitely speaking on biased terms here because like we talked about, I'm an album guy, and my dad has even said to me, he's like, the way it used to be is you used to have to buy the album no matter what, even if you were buying it for one song. You hear that one song on the radio, you still had to buy the album to get that one song. It's not like today where you could just go into iTunes and buy that one single that you heard on the radio. I think that's the difference, is that everything is so much more easily obtainable nowadays, and so much that you can cater, your own experience, which is, unfortunately, that's the other side of that spectrum.
Yeah, I mean, it is a sad part. It's kind of one of those things where, like I said, you've got that self-gratification aspect of it, but then it pulls away from the possibility of new fans. You think about back in the day, how many people heard Enter Sandman on radio and ran out and bought the Black Album only for that song, and ended up becoming lifelong Metallica fans because they were forced to buy an entire album.
Yeah.
It's just...
Yeah, and I mean, you definitely weren't going to just get one Frank Zappa song. It just wouldn't be the same experience. It sometimes it's really important the what surrounds it. Especially in an album sense, because the contrast from song to song is something that can really give you that experience, and put the song in a different perspective for you, and I really think that's important because it puts you closer to being in the band's shoes or the producer's shoes or, whoever's shoes are really thinking about the process and involved in the process of making the record. And, that's what I'm into. I'm into being on the same level as whoever was creating it, and I guess that's what I try to take out of things. So, like I said, I'm certainly biased when it comes to my opinions about, an album sequence and things of such. But
no, man, you're not. Well, you may be biased. If you're biased, well, then so am I, because I'm of that same mentality. I only go for single songs when I absolutely need it for airplay, and I don't have the album yet in my hands. That's really the only time I go that route. But I'm like you, so if you're biased, so am I. But at least I'm in good company. Those of you guys joining in late, Brandon Yeagley of Crobot joining me by phone here inside the ASYLUM tonight. Now, Brandon, we've been talking a lot about the albums, and really a key part of albums and album listening and buying is also being able to identify with the band when you see them live. And you guys, do a great, amazing live show. The energy you guys bring is just amazingly high. And you guys, it seems like you guys have been non-stop. You went out with Anthrax, and from there you went out with Wilson. Now you guys are out with Motörhead. You guys are kind of doing the old school way of just constant touring to get yourselves out there.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's really worked out for us. Just really putting in the time and effort into going back to some of these towns that may not have ever heard of us or what we're doing, and it's definitely been making a difference. And of course, when you're playing with bands like Motörhead and bands of that caliber, it's really, they got built-in crowds, so it's really turning us on to some new people that might not otherwise hear about us. But it's like you said, it's the old school mentality, and it's what we do best, really. It's what we're in this for. We love being out on the road and being in a different city every night and always coming back. That's what we hold on to.
Now who, like I said, you guys have been out with Anthrax and Wilson. You're out with Motörhead now, and matter of fact, you guys will be in my area for the food truck and rock carnival coming up on the 18th, 19th, and 20th. You guys are playing on the 20th. That's happening in Oak Ridge, New Jersey later this month. Who has kind of been someone you've either been on the road with, or maybe you've gotten across paths with while out on the road at a festival? Have you guys had, or have you had that moment where you have that moment of like, wow, I'm in the room talking to shit with someone that I've listened to and idolized for years? Have you had that yet?
When we went out with Clutch and the Sword, that was probably our first big tour, and probably the best thus far too for us. It was just one of those moments where, wow, we're really here. We're really playing shows with Clutch and the Sword. Two of our favorite bands of all time, and the guys were super cool, and would chat with us anytime we'd run into them, and it was just so refreshing to know that your idols were so cool, and it really puts things in perspective, because for the most part out here, nobody's a dick, everybody's really cool, everybody's that, and we've been fortunate to be out with some really cool bands and really cool people. But from our experience, it's really it's the dickheads who don't really last because nobody wants to put up with them, you know. So I think it's you know, it's a community mentality too. You know, it's not really the '80s anymore where people are hanging posters over other bands' posters. It's not a competition. You know, everybody's trying to scrape this whole thing together and just get people out and showing up again. And you know, I think it's come to this point for a reason, and I don't know that I don't have the answers. I don't think any one person does, but you know, I feel if we all put our minds together and if we all, you know, fight for the same fight and you know, keep showing up, that something's gonna turn on its head. You know, I think things are gonna come back in a bigger, better way for this industry, and you know, it may not be for monetary values, but it'll be for, you know, for the diehard fans who are in it for the right reasons, and the bands who are doing it for the right reasons, you know. But in our experience, everybody's been really cool. I can think of one instance where the band went above and beyond when we were out with Volbeat and Anthrax.
Mm-hmm.
We had this like one-off show where a few other bands hopped on the bill, and it was sort of like a pseudo festival sort of setup. But when the set times were created, our sets were cut short, and when Volbeat got word about our sets being cut short, and this was us and Anthrax, they sacrificed like a half hour of their set or something of the sort to split up between us and Anthrax so we'd have more time. I just, you know, that was one of the coolest things that any band has ever done for us, to actually cut their headlining set to give us more time because they felt that we were getting screwed out of the deal, you know. And like I said, it's been a really good experience for us on that side of things, you know. Nobody's really a dick out here because nobody wants to put up with that, you know.
That's a really unique, you know, scenario. And I mean, I've heard the guys of Volbeat are great guys, so it really does not surprise me that they did that. But like you said, you go back, you know, 5 or 10 years ago, the headliner would have turned around and went, "Hey man, that's your problem, not mine. I'm playing my full set." You know, for them to say, you know, "Oh, we're gonna do things right." That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Now,
yeah,
you know,
most definitely.
Yeah, I mean, now you bring up, you know, the kind of a mini festival, and I mean, we'd be remiss to, you know, ignore what went on this summer with Mayhem Festival and even some of the other tours that are kind of becoming mini festivals. Slipknot going out with 3 bands. You know, Slipknot going out with Lamb of God, Motionless in White, and Bullet for My Valentine, and the Food Truck and Rock Carnival happening in New Jersey, and now we've got you guys going out with Saxon and Motörhead, Anthrax joining that later on. Do you think maybe that's the way we're headed musically, so that fans and bands can get more out of the live concert experience instead of it being, you know, an opener and a headliner, maybe going to that 3-4 band tour setup so that everyone gets the best value for their show?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think it's a great thing, a great way to get people out to shows for sure. And you know, when you see that bigger ticket price, you know that you're going to get your money's worth. You know, and not to say that you won't get your money's worth going to see Rush too. You know, it's another experience all in itself. It is a great thing. It's a great way to get a young band like ourselves in some sort of different kind of light, for new fans to come out and see us, and we hope every night that Motörhead fans and Saxon fans and Anthrax fans come out early enough to check us out, and it's been a great run for us thus far in that respect. There's people coming out early, and we really have Saxon and Motörhead to thank for that, because there are a lot of fans of those bands who have no idea who we are. And it's really a different experience for us playing these shows, because we have to win the crowds over from start to finish. Because we see a lot of people looking at us like we're aliens, and for good reason. At the start of the set, and by the end of the set, you see some of those heads banging and bobbing. So it's a cool challenge for us. It's a great thing to be, so early in our career and have such great opportunities. And it's a great way to succeed. And really, it's like it's not setting yourself up for failure at all. I mean, there's no way you can go wrong touring with Motörhead. And I think that's absolutely where we're headed. I think the states are a little behind on the festivals, and I think they're catching up slowly but surely. Kansas City Rock Fest, which we played this year, had an amazing lineup, and they're doing things really well out there. We just got done playing Riot Fest in Denver a couple of days ago, which was another awesome experience. And Rock on the Range, of course, the last 2 years for us has just been monumental in our careers. The first year we played there was really the start of the snowball for us. We got a lot of big tours because of that show. We everything up until this point, it really just goes back to some of those moments where we were given the opportunity to be in front of the right people, and at some points a lot of people, where if we would have just went out on our own in a headlining show to Denver, which we've done before, and we've only played to like 6 people, there have been shows like that for us, and it's a great thing for bands like us, and I think it's a great thing for fans. They get their money's worth on tickets for sure.
Yeah, I'm one of those people. I pay for a ticket. I get there early, and I want to see what the opening band is, especially if it's someone I've never heard of. Because you think about all the bands back in the day, even the bands that you're out with now. Okay, Anthrax was a nobody opener one day. Motörhead was a nobody back in the day. So, people need to realize that, you don't know who that next big band could be if you're not there when doors open to see who they are.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
So, I say that constantly, and I'm glad to hear people, and if they aren't, they should be. If you're out and getting ready to have Motörhead come through your town, make sure you guys get there early. Check out Crobot. You will not be disappointed. Something supernatural available wherever you buy your music. And before we came on, Brandon, you and I were talking. You guys have a few days off. You're actually in the studio, starting to play around with the next album.
Yeah, we're always thinking ahead, and not to leave something supernatural in the dust, but we've been jamming those songs for quite some time until the album came out. We've been playing some of these songs for a few years, so it's cool to start thinking ahead to the next album and start to be proactive about the process. And we saw a hole in the schedule, and gave our producer Machine a call and said, "Hey, what are you doing these 2 days? Do you think it'd be cool if we came in and started the pre-production process?" And that's one fortunate thing about having such a great relationship with your producer is that you can do things like that, and also tip of the hat to him for being an amazing guy, for just dropping whatever he had to do to welcome us with open arms into his awesome studio. But yeah, we're gonna plunk around for a few days, and we have a good batch of songs already. I would be confident in saying that if we started the process of making the album tomorrow, we'd be ready. But we're the type of band that we go into the studio with at least 25 songs, and somehow we try to narrow that down to 10 to 12, which has proven to be a task all in and of itself. But we're always looking ahead. We're always trying to write new music, and being on the road all the time certainly adds its speed bumps to that process. But we always like to keep the iron hot, and saw this opportunity to jump in the jam room and for a couple days, and it's going to be awesome.
Well, I'm no doubt on that one. It's funny that you guys already have enough to put together the album if you wanted to. I mean, that not only speaks volumes to the type of people you are, but also to the type of musicians and how tight you guys are as a band. If you are just on a couple of days off, if you wanted to have enough, you have it to start working on the album if you really wanted to start the recording process. I mean, that just speaks volumes to what you guys are doing.
Yeah, we're definitely about quality more than quantity, but we went into the last record with like 50 songs, so we want to try to reach as close to that number as we possibly can. So, and like I said, the road definitely lends its speed bumps to that process, but we're hoping to get a good leg up on it, so that when it comes time to talking about scheduling some time to really sit down and start to go at it hard, that we're ready for it.
Hey, who knows? Maybe you guys will be the first band to, instead of a double studio album, maybe you'll be the first band to knock out a triple disc studio album.
Oh, that would be awesome. That would be awesome.
Now, that's how you
I think you got the wheel spinning now, Turbo.
Oh, there you go. See, I planted a seed. Look at that, man. Listen, everyone's got to be the first at something. Everyone making a big deal of Iron Maiden doing their first double studio album coming out in a week, and someone's got to be the first triple studio album. And why not Crobot?
Well, if it happens, all credit goes to you.
Hey, man, as long as I get mine, if it happens, all I ask is my name in the liners, and I copy when it's out. That's all I ask, man. Oh, man, but I know I don't want to take too much more of your time, man. I know it's a day off, and I know you're anxious to get to jamming. Before I let you go, even though we're coming near into the tour you got going on now with Motörhead, Saxon with you now, Anthrax joining later, and the Food Truck and Rock Carnival later this month in New Jersey. You guys got anything planned for after that in 2015, or are you guys just gonna go right to getting that next album done?
Well, after this tour, we got Motorboat with Motörhead and Corrosion of Conformity. Oh man, I'm so excited for that lineup. We got that lined up, and then we have just a few dates. We're gonna swing back home. We're gonna play some headlining dates on the way back home, and then I think we have like 2 or 2.5 weeks off. We're gonna keep writing and lock ourselves back in the writing shed. And after that, we're headed to Europe for a headlining run with Scorpion Child and Buffalo Summer. So we're really excited for that. It's going to be our only our second time in Europe. Last year, this year in February, we were out there with Black Label Society. So we're really anxious to get back there and see the momentum that we gained from that tour play out.
Nice, man. Nice. Well, awesome to hear. And everyone make sure you guys get out and see Crobot. Brandon Yeagley of Crobot, thank you for joining me. Before I let you go here inside the asylum, I gotta have you pick a track off of something supernatural for my listeners to hear a band member pick from you.
Absolutely. I'll go with Skull Geronimo, just because I think it's a showcase song for all of us individually, and it really captures the Crobot spectrum from start to finish in one song.
Awesome. Y'all gotta check this out. Skull Geronimo from Crobot right now inside the asylum. Don't go anywhere more. Still to come.